and the other dignitaries who are listening to this particular debate that is going on in the University of Oxford. In fact, I have looked the globalization from the bird's eye view, that whether this globalization was a conscious efforts of the group of 7 countries, or it is just a matter of coincidence that after 1944, when Lord Keynes had laid the foundation of IMF, World Bank, and GATT, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, and later it yielded to WTO, World Trade Organization, which doesn't appear to have given some benefit in terms of trade negotiation, particular critical trade negotiation. We consider it as the patents and copyrights, which the countries are not enjoying at all. We have seen during COVID, when it was a question of vaccination to the people across the country, and it became difficult without paying the royalty that the vaccine could not be taken. Therefore, the economies have suffered significantly. The globalization as it proceeded from 1944 and the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade that has given a special privilege to the countries that they are the most favored nations who will treat the products of every country on equal basis, and they will not discriminate. That has given some advantage even to the countries which were not very good in trade, like Pakistan, even India was given some privilege on generalized preference system, due to which the tariff was reduced and the trade was possible to United States of America. What we have seen over the years, that it is the competitive advantage which has led to the trade and openness in investment to the third world countries, due to which their GDP must have grown. Otherwise, practically, if we look at the poverty mitigation due to the globalization, India has not made any appreciable progress on poverty mitigation, and unemployment is very serious in India, especially. This globalization, in fact, is not a state of a passage to the countries, but these are the elected governments who are expected to display the best of their mind to get the advantage of globalization. India practically entered into the era of globalization in 1990s, and thereafter it has liberalized the financial sector. It has opened up the investment, and the tariff reduction, in fact, is not on continuum basis, but sometimes the protectionism is increased and sometimes it is liberalized. We do not have any taste of the globalization, particularly in India, except that certain section of the society has been benefited by the market, exuberance, which takes place when there is a huge capital flow from the United States. What I consider is that the G7 countries must have given the direction to all the group of 33 countries, that is the emerging market economies, and should have given certain scope for, that is the trade, which was expected to have given the benefit of poverty mitigation and the unemployment. The China basically is considered as a non-market economy even today, because 70% of its resources are controlled by the monolithic government, that is the People's Republic of China, which is a country who controls the consumption as well as gives the direction for the economy. Even the financial sector is also under the control of China. when they want the stock market to go up, it goes up with the debt given to the people that they spend money on the stock market. And when it has to pull down the stock market, they can pull it down. So this is how, China has taken the complete competitive advantage on the manufacturing sector, and it the European Union and even United States of America became hostage to China so far as the consumption goods are concerned. They had taken the full advantage since the time when this that is the dollar broke the nexus with the gold. The trade has gone like a wildfire. It has spread, but the benefit of the globalization, if we call that, that is floating exchange rate, it has been given to United States and the European Union to some extent, and China, which has become a world factory present in the present day. But when the labor scarcity had taken place, the wages have touched the peak. The China has had a hard landing, and it became difficult even to get 6% of the growth rate, which previously it was getting 12%. So that way, if we consider that the China as the only country to take the benefit of all MNCs from every country, from Japan, from Germany, from France, and from United States, all the G7 countries have invested hugely in China, and the China has become a world factory. And it was not difficult for China to train the manpower, to train the labor, and produce the consumption good as much as possible. India, in fact, continued to look at China. First of all, it did not look at the China for long, many years, and it continued to struggle with the socialist economy, which India started in 1947 until 1990. The Indian economy had a very difficult time to manage the increasing population, and it was difficult to feed even the population. But subsequently, when India started liberalizing, there was an embargo by the United States that the agriculture export is not possible by India. The reason being that the India is expected to feed its poor population, roughly 80 crore in number, and therefore the stock holding is very important, where it is spending roughly 16% of the subsidy on the prices, current prices. But United States wants that the external reference price is of 1985 and the subsidy should not exceed 10%. That is making difficult for India to export. India has tried to leverage the agriculture laws so that the marketability of this agriculture could bring some benefit, but ultimately the problem was with the people of India, those who did not want to lose the secure money which the government in fact is paying to them through minimum support price. So that also was rolled back by the Prime Minister of the country, and ultimately we had seen we are back to the same situation as of 1970, when the unemployment was roughly around 45%, and the poverty is again about 23 crore people are living below the poverty level. This is the state of affair if we consider the globalization. But China has taken the maximum benefit, and the benefit has been given by the European Union and the United States of America. Now China has got the expansionist ambition that it wants to encroach the land of India from Arunachal Pradesh and from Ladakh. This is how he can dare India. In 1962, China was marginally higher than India, and it could not defeat India at that particular time. Now it has been staring at India, as well as now you must be seeing in the news that it is Taiwan, that it wants to capture the territory of Taiwan also, that it wants that only one country but two rules like Hong Kong and China and Taiwan. The United States has also been dared when the United States Secretary wanted to visit this Taiwan for a short visit, it has caused inconvenience to the President Jinping in China, and therefore the visit had to be cut short and she had gone back. Now, with this state of affair, the United States hegemony has been reduced to minimum. United States is not able to call the shots. It has called the shots there in Iran and subsequently in Iraq. So far as now the oil dependence of United States is concerned, now it is getting the shale gas, so its dependence on this West Asia is no more there. So therefore the issues with Iraq and Kuwait and other countries are said to be pacified and there is no problem at all. But now we are seeing that when Russia, after the breakdown of the USSR into 15 countries, the Russia has got the tendency to stop the countries in joining the NATO forces. But Ukraine, in fact, was given hope that somehow the military support will be given to Ukraine. Now it is about 7 months that the Russia is just waging a war with the Ukraine, as a result of which the commodity supply has fallen short and the inflation has gone through the roof in most of the country. Sri Lanka has been completely devastated. If we consider that this was the objective of the globalization, I attribute this to, that is, the countries in the G7 bloc have not performed their due role in supporting the country in their continent. Of course, the benefit has been taken by the Korean and as well as in the Asian countries who have learned the production of semiconductors and automobile from Japan, and therefore they have made some progress in their development milieu. But the SAARC countries, which consist of 17 countries, they have not made any progress. The reason being is that the Pakistan is wayward and it is not possible to control the conflict attitude of the Pakistan. Afghanistan was practically ruled by United States of America and it vacated the territory of Afghanistan as if the peace will remain there for a long time. Ultimately, the Afghanis people are left to the lurch and the problem, in fact, is the same as it was 2 decades ago. Ultimately, the G7, when I say that this is the benefit which has not been given through the congenial atmosphere created by the G7 countries, even the United Nations has not performed the due role in that. IMF is performing the minimum role, and the dollar is continuing to be a free currency, free from this. So whenever the United States want the trade to be open and to be liberal, it is happening. Otherwise, there are restrictions. Now we are back to the protectionism. The tariff during the Trump administration has been increased from India as well as of China, the two trading partners. And there now we are seeing that the China will close the doors for the other countries to invest there. It is not because that the China is being taken with a serious hand. It is because the wages have gone up there. The labor has been fully utilized and now there is no scope. They are demanding the higher wages. So therefore, export otherwise also will be difficult given the fact that the cost of the production goes up with the wages because wages contribute too much in the production. Similarly, we have seen that the nuclear power, that is which, that is Dr. Manmohan Singh and the president at that time, Bush, has signed. In fact, it has not been fructified today. We are producing hardly 1.5% of the nuclear power. We are still dependent on the thermal power, which is causing pollution, fossil fuel, and all that, as a result of which this global warming challenge has become very serious, and the government, in fact, has been committed to do something good for the emission, and the 50% of the global emission will be reduced by the India in due course of time. Here, the global financing, green financing, was expected to be supported by the G7 countries, which has not been done. So therefore, the challenges are there for the Asian and African countries, which are yet to grow independently, and they were expected to mitigate the poverty. The challenges are huge for the developing countries, and we do not see the globalization even must have given 25% of the benefit. So 75% is the vacuum there, and the countries do not have any show road where to go, and therefore the situation will continue to grim for the globalization. What will happen? There is lot to say about it, but since you have raised the signal that it is to be closed, I thanks you very much that you have given me few minutes to say about my views. There is lot to be discussed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor.